Welcome back to Homestead Heart. And today, you all, I am actually back in here with my little seed starting set up to show you all some of the, or just one of the adjustments that I have made, but another adjustment that I know I'm going to have to make in the very near future. Now, you all, first of all, let me talk to you about the setup itself. I think I did in another video, but I'm going to go ahead and go into it again because I know I may have some new eyes watching for the first time. So welcome to Homestead Heart. Hopefully you'll take the time to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss anything that we upload to the channel. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into what you're seeing here. This is my seed starting setup here, and what I have here is a shelf that is 4 feet wide, 2 feet deep. Okay, so it's 48 inches wide and 24 inches deep, but it's also, as you can see, I think that's like 70 inches tall, if I'm not mistaken. And Mr. H picked that shelf up from Walmart. Now, I will try to find a shelf like this and see if I can post a link to it in the description box below. In fact, everything that I find that I talk about in this video, I will post a link to it to make it easy for you to find, okay? Now, on this shelf, what I have on the sides is just foil paper on the actual sides here, and also maybe about 2 feet of it in the back. The wall is behind the rest of it, so there was no need for me to put anything back there. And then I have foil on the other side. However, on the front here is one of those emergency mylar blankets, right? And one of our viewers suggested that I could use something like this to close it in to help with the light, because it's so bright, and to have all of the light blaring in the living room, which is where my shelf is, because we have a small space that we're working with, but we still have to grow our groceries, right? So that's exactly what I did. I took one of my emergency blankets and I literally folded it over just a little bit because it's long, just a little bit. And then I taped it up top. It's very lightweight, so plain Scotch tape, taping it to the shelf holds just fine. So I'm gonna go ahead now and lift this up. I've already turned off a couple of the lights because the lights are so bright that you wouldn't be able to see if I left them on. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. I literally just take this. There's nothing fancy that I do. I just take it and roll it kind of like so until I get up to the top. And then I just fold it over to the top of the shelf while I work. Now again, as you can see, I turn the lights on. I have all of these lights here off right here because, like I said, you won't be able to see. But these are all of my little seedlings here. I'm gonna turn this back off. I have all of my little seedlings here underneath these grow lights. And this shelf is so wonderful because my trays are exactly 24 inches deep, okay? Bud, I forgot Bud was outside using the bathroom. He let me know, look, open this door. All of my trays, my little catch-all trays that I put my little seed starts in, or my cell trays, are 24 inches deep. And I could get 4 on each one of these shelves. All right. So now I have 4 shelves that I use specifically for the seed starting. And my top shelf I use as just storage space for whatever I'm working with when it comes to seed starting. Okay. And that way I don't have to look for anything. I even have some extra trays up here or some labels or whatever. But everything that I need regarding seed starting, I'll put it on the top shelf, and that gives me easy, quick access to it. All right. Now, you all, these lights right here are LEDs. I think I mentioned that, but maybe somebody missed it in the last video because the questions were being asked about the lights, even though I thought I said what they were. These are LED lights. They are for specifically for seed starting, right? but because they are lights, you can use them anywhere, right? But they are grow lights. I forgot how many lumens and all of that they are, but they do a fantastic job, okay? And the package that I bought 10 to a pack. And when I went back to find that 10 to a pack, they were unavailable. They were sold out, okay? So I'm gonna try to find something like this or maybe the equivalent of it, okay? Now, as far as the inconsistencies go, I'm going to show you the inconsistencies about this shelf that I didn't experience when I had a smaller shelf when I was using these grow lights, because I have two grow lights hanging from the wire rack here, one in the front, one in the back, okay? And it's like that all the way down. Now, I'm going to show you why for a shelf this size, it caused some inconsistencies in the growth of my little seedlings. Okay, so let me show you. Now here I have my pepper plants. Okay, ew. Here are my peppers. That is red Marconi and Cubanelle on that end. This one right here. These are big reds right here in the front. You can't see, but I'm gonna show you the side. I don't know if I told you all, but one of my favorite bell peppers to grow is called Sunbright, okay? It is such a beautiful, bright yellow bell pepper, and my goodness, is it so sweet. It tastes absolutely delicious to me. I could eat that raw, right? Just by itself. Right here, you could see, look at my little bitty bell peppers right there. These are Sunbrights. Look at how little they are. Just look at that. Just look. Isn't that something? But these are Sunbrights too. Yeah. These are Sunbrights. Ooh. These are Sunbright bell peppers as well. Ooh, let me get you back in there. I don't want to damage any leaves trying to pull these little tags from. Ooh. Now, what's the problem? Well, look at it. Look at this side. Look at the middle. Look at this side. Okay? What happened is that in the front, I have lights going across the front. And then I have lights going across the back. And I thought if I brought them as close as I can to one another, making sure that the front and the back got equal amounts of light, that the center would be taken care of. And boy, was I wrong. It doesn't work like that. Y'all look at these, and all of these peppers were started at the exact same time. Now, remember I said with my lettuces, I had a lot of lettuces, red romaine, little gem, green salad bowl, red salad bowl, lettuces, right, tango, all of them growing in a tray just like this. All of the lettuces on this side, they grew up so well. And so did the ones on the back, but the ones in the middle were very, very small. And so now you all, I am gonna have to add a light to the middle of this rack. I used to have one of those little stainless steel racks that I used to start my seedlings on, and it was much smaller. So the space wasn't so wide in between, in the middle or in the center of the shelf, right? The space wasn't like that. So as a result, everything grew evenly. But because this shelf here is about, I want to say this shelf is about maybe 6 inches wider, that in the middle, I'm not getting that growth, okay? And I noticed that happened on a few of my trays, right? Now, what I have had to do, just from noticing that, was just take some of my little seed trays or seedlings out and just kind of like move them around, okay? I would have to take the two from here and move them to the middle, and the two in the middle and put them in the front. So I would have to do that every 3 or 4 days or so, just to make sure that I'm trying to give them as much light as I possibly could, right? All right, let's talk tomatoes. We could just talk about everything else that I have on this shelf here. I have all kinds of peppers and herbs and all of that on this shelf, and some of the tomatoes I have already up potted, and my little moringa trees, I've up potted those and they're already growing well in this cup. And I have more that I need to up pot my tomatoes. Okay. But as you can see what I was talking about, look at the tomatoes in the middle, the ones on the ends. You could see that uneven growth that I was telling you about, all because of the lighting. But a lot of these need to be up potted and come out of these little 4-cell trays. But you can see they're still doing very well, even though they're still in these little 4 cells that need to come out quick. All I will do, you all, is just take my little red party cups back here, and as I take these out of the cells, I will separate them, because some of these cells, this one has 3 very strong tomato plants in it and 1 little weak one. So I'll just get rid of that little weak one, but the little strong ones, I will separate them out gently by teasing the roots apart gently so we don't break up any roots. And then I will bury this tomato plant in my cup as far down as I can, and all these little hairs, which are roots, will start to take hold, and they will start to spread out more roots, making this plant much stronger, right? And all of these tomatoes are on our seed shop. This is Arkansas Traveler, Cherokee Purple, Pineapple. German Johnson is not on the seed shop. These are my personal seeds because I love them so much. I think German Johnsons are my absolute favorite tomato to eat. But then we also have mushroom basket tomatoes. Now back here, there are no seeds in these trays. There are no tomatoes in these trays. And these were mushroom baskets. Reason being is that I didn't put a seed in there. All of these right here are all mushroom basket. And I'm like, why these seeds didn't come up? It was because when I looked through, there wasn't a seed in none of them. So I didn't start seeds in these cells. But there's really no need for me to do that, because in these 4 cells, each one of them have about 2 or 3 mushroom basket tomatoes in each one. So as I separate them, I will have more than enough. And that's the reason why I always start more seeds than I need, because I want to make sure that I have enough. And then once I plant them or transplant them out, the others I'll just hold on to, because you never know if a late frost is going to come and take them all out. So I just make sure I plant enough. I'm really glad that Mr. H bought this shelf. This is not the original shelf that I wanted, that I asked for, but because they didn't have it, he just got one because he knew I needed one. And now I'm actually glad it's the shelf I didn't even know I needed, because it holds everything perfectly. I'm going to talk to you all about the heat mats, because I do have heat mats under my heat-loving crops, like the peppers and the tomatoes and some of my herbs. All of my brassicas, which are broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbages, no heat whatsoever. The soil, they love that cool soil, so I didn't need to use heat for them, and they are growing very well. This is one that I have taken apart right now, or taken off of the shelf. And this is the heat mat that I'm using. And I got such a deal. I think I got like a 6-pack of these for like 60 bucks. It was literally $10 a heat mat. When you're starting your seedlings like tomatoes and peppers, it's always good to put them on heat because they like the warmth, okay? And so the tomatoes and peppers, regarding the heat mat, I still have them on heat. Remember I told you all that typically I turn the heat off on these peppers and stuff. Now, I didn't do that this time, okay? I wanted to see what would happen if I just left them on the heat mats. And as you could see, the heat mats kind of mimic the soil temperatures that we're going to be putting them in outside, because they love warm soil temperatures which is why you don't transplant them out until the soil warms up, right? And so I left them on the heat mats, all but this tray right here. This is where that heat mat came from. So now let me show you this growth here. The trays were originally on the heat mat. I turned the heat mat off. And then they were in my little 4 cells like so until I up potted them. But even after I up potted them, they're back in the same place. Let me show you these. They're still growing well, right? They're still growing good. These are all my paste tomatoes. These are opalkas and orange romas in this tray. But look at the difference between these right here and the ones I just showed you behind me. I'm doing the exact same thing to all of them. Look at these. These were all on heat. This is that pineapple tomato I was telling you about that's on our little seed shop. All of these were left on heat, right? Not these, but some that I had here, I've taken out of here and put them over here. They're on heat. Yeah. So these, you all, have slowed down in growth. After all of my seeds germinated in that one tray, I took that heat mat away from them. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to leave the heat on everything else and just see what happens. And the growth on this tray, they still were growing, but they slowed down tremendously versus these. You could see them. Look at how big and beautiful they are. So I will say that if you want to turn the heat mat off, they will still grow. They will still do just fine. They may even grow very large. But for me, I'm looking at how fast they grow, keeping them on these heat mats. So they have been on heat since I started the seeds back in February. I think it was February 21st that I started my seeds. I guess. The tomatoes that I left on the heat are absolutely huge. And today is March 18th. It hasn't even been 30 days since I started those seeds. I either started them February 17th or February 21st. And in any case, it's only been a month or a little less. And you could see the size of these tomatoes. And they are ready to be up potted. Okay? The same for my peppers. The peppers are beautiful and they are growing very, very well. But I think the greatest difference I notice is in the tomatoes. Lastly, the fertilizers. What am I using to fertilize and how often am I fertilizing? Okay, so when it comes to the fertilizer, I'm fertilizing these little seedlings once every single week. All right. The way I fertilize these plants are so super easy, you all. I literally will take a gallon jug, or in my case, a little orange juice jug, something like this, and I will add about a teaspoon or so of fish emulsion. All right. This is just fish fertilizer. It's all it is. It's organic. You know, we don't use harmful chemicals and we don't use synthetic fertilizers here. Everything that we use is organic, natural, okay? So that's what we do. And I literally would just put a little teaspoon in this jug or in my gallon jug and add just a little bit of water at the bottom. And then I'll shake it up because that stuff is thick. So you want to dissolve it before you fill it all the way up with water, okay? So I literally just put a little in, shake it up. And then I'll fill it the rest of the way with water. And I will come back and I will either take out one of the cells of my, y'all can't see that because the light's so bright, but I'll take out one of the cells of the tray and I'll pour in this water until it's about a good inch or so above the bottom of the tray. Let me show you. Until it's like a good inch above this bottom of this tray, about right here. Once the water gets to about that inch or so, then I stop. And that should be enough water for every single cell in this tray to drink and be fertilized at the same time, okay? So I do that about once a week. And that's it. That literally is it. How long are my lights on? I turn my lights on in the morning, I don't know, 8 o'clock, something like that. And I'll turn them off at about 6. So that's a long time. So the lights should be on, you all, a minimum of 6 hours. But between 6, 8, and 10, you'll be good. So that's how long I have the lights on my trays. Because once I transplant them outside, that's exactly how much light they're going to be getting. About a good 10 hours of sunlight, okay? These peppers right here on this side, I literally started those when? I started these 3 weeks ago. These peppers right here that you can see that are so small. Because I actually was not going to start them. But then I said, nah, I'm going to do it. So I have Golden California Wonders, Emerald Giant. I have, what is that? Oh, that Purple Beauty Bell Pepper, y'all. Look at that. Look at that. Can y'all see those little peppers growing? They are doing very, very well. And I'm leaving them on the heat as well. But in any case, these are my, these are my purple tomatillos right here. These are not on our seed shop. These are my Rio Grande tomatillos right here. These are on our seed shop. And I'm actually looking forward to making some salsas with the tomatillos or some salsa verdes, right? Okay, let me slide those back in the middle because they get so tall that they start getting a little too close to the light. And I don't want to raise the light too much more because these little ones are still trying to grow. So what I do is I push them to the center so that they are in the middle of where the two lights are and not touching the lights, even though the lights are not hot to the touch. How do you know when to raise the lights? Okay, you all. So let's just say this is my light here. Once my plants, the majority of them, once they start getting just about here to the lights, just underneath it, I just take the light and I'll raise it up a notch, all right? But the lights have these little chains that will allow you to unclamp, raise them up even higher, okay? And then reclamp them to the shelf. So I will raise them up according to the peppers that have grown the tallest. Now, also what I'll do is if I have the majority of the peppers are still kind of small, like I just said, I'll move the ones that are growing the fastest to the center of the tray, and that way they can continue to grow up through the middle where the lights are. And the shortest ones I will leave on the ends, and I will leave the lights in place until they grow up a little taller, okay? But typically I'll move the lights when my plants tell me you need to move the light because I'm about to touch the light, okay? Like this one, how tall this one is, and it actually sits in here and it touches the light. Well, this one I will put in the middle of the tray. And as it sits in the middle, it's still getting a ton of light from both sides, right? But it's just not directly underneath it, all right? When getting a shelf this size, the growth inconsistencies that I'm seeing as a result of the shelf being so deep, the lights are not really helping the little plants in the middle of my trays. So I'm going to have to add 4 additional lights to this shelf for the next seed starting time, which for me will be sometime in July, something like that, when I start all of my Brussels sprouts. I do not grow Brussels sprouts in the summer or in the spring. It's a waste of time because we go from spring, early spring to burning hot. So there's no reason for me to even try that. They will not grow. They have a very long growing season, so it doesn't work for me here in the spring. All right. So y'all, that's going to do it for this little seed setup and the inconsistencies with the lights and the remedy for that, and just kind of all of the ins and outs that I'm using when it comes to starting seeds here on our homestead. So I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, you all give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos that we upload to our channel. If it's something that I missed, please ask your questions in the comment section below. If I do not answer them, this community is very knowledgeable. So there's always going to be someone willing to share their experience and their knowledge with us to kind of help us along the way as well. All right. So thank y'all again for watching Homestead Heart. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. And I will see you in the next video.